This is the show where we talk about, so you're going to have to remember that I started without saying live.
Yeah.
So you're going to remember this? Yeah. Okay, kind of like you remember the card in the thing.
Yep.
Okay. So he's not going to remember that, and it's not going to get done. How did you watch show 97?
No.
Did you know that it exists?
No.
No. Because we kind of did one live out at the sand dunes last week.
Yeah.
When we were out training. Because I don't know why. I think they said that I couldn't do it. And then I turned my phone on and we just did it. So there is a 97. It's on my phone. And so we need to get that up there.
Okay.
Right? So that means the workload has been doubled.
Yeah.
Right. And then we gotta work on the. So these people watch it here, so they don't watch it on the YouTubes. They watch it on Facebook, and then there's the people listen to it on SoundCloud, and those ones need better. Like the mechanics of the editing is okay, but there's some description problems and stuff. So we got to work on, and we got to get it. Logan's getting life experiences live on the show. Remember when you didn't talk? Was it better then?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay, good. Who's this show brought to you by? Do we know? It's brought to you by DDC again. Hold those sprockets up. Yeah, make a lot of noise. Good. So DDC, Delaney Drive Components, is sponsoring Tech Talk Taco Tuesday again, of course, because Jimmy needed sprockets. And I would have paid for them, but Nate said, I'll just send them to you if you just start mentioning us on the show again. So we did. And obviously when we do, you guys remember Nate, and you buy sprockets from them because they are, in my opinion, some of the best, if not the best, steel sprockets out there. I've actually been paying a lot of attention to sprockets lately because I have some aluminum ones that are worn out in my Hondas, and I'm mad because I forgot to ask Nate. I got one for my Yamaha, and I have tons of them for KTMs. Almost all my KTMs are on these, but then I was seeing some other brands that I've been seeing failures on, some of these other kinds of sprockets. So I'm glad I'm running these because I've never had a failure. I've never worn one out, even though he guarantees them for like a year or 2 years or something. I don't know. He's got a really good guarantee on them. Great sprockets. He supports land use issues. He tries to keep your riding areas open. That's why you should go with DDC sprockets, in my opinion. I do. So I'll probably be buying some Honda ones real soon. What about you, Logan? My dad buys all my sprockets. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, read that one then. Huh? He would buy DDC. He'd buy them? You'd buy them too, Logan? Absolutely. Yeah. With your dad's money. Dad, give me the credit card?
Yep.
You know, you do make some money when you work for us here every once in a while.
Yeah.
When you work for us. But
yeah.
So when you asked on Friday if I needed help at the school, was that like, did you want to help or did you want the weekend off?
I was willing to help.
You were willing to help because I washed the motorcycles. That was my job this weekend. I got to wash the motorcycles, all of them. And George told me I did a pretty good job, I think.
You got like $800 in tips.
Yeah. Dude, the tips were fat this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, sucker. So yeah, who's one of our main sponsors?
Honda.
Honda.
With their new 2021 Sierra 450R. Is designed to take you straight from the starting gate to Victory Circle. This awesome open cross motocrosser.
Open class. Good.
Class motocrosser features all new chassis, a major engine overhaul, new suspension, and new bodywork. And you can forget about clutch fade, adjustment, or hand fatigue with the new hydraulic clutch system. Lighter than ever, the Sierra 450R explodes out of corners when it's time to increase your lead. So get down to your local dealer and check out the 2021 Honda Sierra 450R. Go to mx.honda.com to see our full lineup of competition bikes. The Sierra 450R is intended for closed course operation only.
Awesome. So we're not doing applause. No, stop. That was an average read. All the words were spoken almost perfectly. I mean, like, we'd have to redo it 3 or 4 times if it was pre-recorded, but that was good for a live gun, so we're happy. When the card starts out in the thing, everything goes better, right? Okay. Yeah. Mark Daniels is out there making pizzas. We just ate some pizza. Don't want to, say what kind of pizza because everybody gets confused when I start talking about this. How you healing up, Logan? Good?
Good.
This is the show where we talk about what?
Dirt bikes and dirt bike related products.
Right. And I have been out riding dirt bikes for the last, actually it has been 7 days because I rode last Tuesday night just before we went live on the show. So it's been 7 days in a row now. And on the sixth day ago, I ate shit. So I feel a little bit like you, except I don't have a broken. We don't know what's broken. I don't think there's anything broken except for blood vessels. Yeah. I have a big fat hip with it's all black and blue, and it's draining into places that we don't want to talk about. So I did a little hand came off the handlebars kind of thing in the sand dunes, and then the hand that was on the handlebars accelerated the throttle on kind of an off-camber dune as it bottomed out on the bottom of the dune, and then my hip went right into a hard dune, and it's not pretty. So now I'm the gimp. So go ahead and anytime you want to lay it on, it's okay. You got some jokes lined up?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
You're scared to say them out loud on the internet where everybody can hear them.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay. Also, we have guests tonight. Yeah. So many of you, especially on the Facebook chat room, are familiar with Rusty Nail. Rusty came out like he said he was and took a Johnny Campbell tour with Johnny Campbell, and he got to ride with my wife and Faye Campbell, and he got to ride with Jim, but not George, and not Jimmy, because Jimmy had to go working, and George is scared of tours and work, right? Or both? Yeah. So Rusty, welcome to the show. We normally do not have guests in the show. But this Harlan character actually also went on a tour and was here on a Tuesday, and he also got to come in. So he was living the dream. And so are you living the dream?
I am living the dream. That was a fantastic ride. Yeah,
awesome. Good to see you. Glad you got to make it back in and see this operation, and underwhelming.
I'm going to pull a Logan and go, I don't know.
Yeah. We do our best here. We're working to step up the game. We say that every time, and I thought that by the 100th show, we would have something like a procedure or a format, but at least we'd know how to turn on the equipment properly.
Turn it on is correct.
Yeah, so we get it turned on, and then we realize there's something wrong.
Yeah.
We realize. Well, like this time Bob did.
Yeah.
Double mask Bob over here. You wearing 2 masks right now?
No.
That's not very safe.
Right.
Yeah, so Bob's risking his life to come in here and tell us we need to put a card, because if we don't put a card in here, then it doesn't go out to the rest of the world. Only the Facebook world sees it, and that's right now 19 of you are lucky enough to get to see us. But anyways, thanks for joining in. We will answer any motorcycle and motorcycle product related question that you have. I might even try to get an expert in here to help me if we need to. But we're going to start with Victor. I really should pre-read Victor's questions before I read them out loud.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Question. Trail riding my CR 250R, trying not to get caught by San Felipe Bob. See, I knew this is why. I hit a rock and broke my exhaust. Does the back pressure of the exhaust affect the power valve performance because it was hitting the power band suddenly, or maybe I was drinking too much water? Okay, there might be some actual, might be an actual real question in that. So crush the exhaust is what I would go to. Back pressure affect the power valve performance. Back pressure would not, well, yeah, okay, it could. So two-stroke expansion chambers are ridiculously complex, and their shape determines the way the engine functions. So if you put a crush or a dent in it, it changes the volume and it changes the angles, and so it changes the way the waves react, and the waves are actually helping shut the exhaust port as much as sometimes the power valve is. And so if it's affecting the way that the engine builds RPM, it's also because the power valve opens and closes based on RPM. It is affecting how the power valve works in some weird, strange way. Not like a thing that's working on pressure, but a dented pipe will affect the performance of the motorcycle. And this may surprise you, but I've been on bikes before. They may have been highly tuned race bikes that had got a rock ding or something, funny happened to the expansion chamber, and they ran better. Most of the time they ran worse, but we've had like dings in pipes that I was like, hey, this thing's working a little bit better. This actually may have helped this bike. So, probably not a good thing overall.
Tuning dents were very popular.
Tuning dents were popular, meaning?
You take a ball peen hammer and tap it at the spot where you're trying to move the wave.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah, you'd really have to know what you're doing to do a tuning dent. I mean, maybe that was like pre my time. I've never seen any tuner that I know do a tuning dent. In our time, we would put spacers in the exhaust flange. So where your pipe slides up, either it's an external, internal flange. We have a washer that's the same diameter as the either internal, external flange, and it would space it out like 1 millimeter or 3 or 5 millimeters, and we would put those in as opposed to having multiple pipes with different length headers to do that. We had pipes, believe it or not, that were essentially had sections in the middle that could be hose clamped together so you could change the midsection. And we also had pipes that had the stingers that we could change the length of the stingers on. And they weren't for they were for short-term stuff. And it was generally stuff that they were trying to confirm something that they'd seen on a dyno or whatever, and they wanted to have it ridden very quickly. So,
The dents were in the 125 GP bikes. Not the dirt bikes, the pavement bikes.
Oh, on pavement bikes.
Yeah.
Huh.
And it was that the Italians were
Italians made them.
The rider complained and they put a little dent in the pipe and then he go out and try it again.
Right. San Felipe Bob, did you hit your head too? No, I actually, did I hit my head? Andrew, did I hit my head when I crashed? You don't know? It didn't seem like it, right? It's always screwed up? Always a little bit off? Yeah. No, it didn't hit my head that I know of. And, oh wait, he's talking about Victor. Victor says, my mom dropped me when the doctor handed her to me 50 years ago. I'm mean to Bob?
No, he was responding to Bob. Victor was responding to Bob, and Bob asked, yeah.
Right. Well, remember that not everybody gets to see all the stuff in the chat room. If you really wonder what's going on in the show half the time, you should just tune in once on Facebook, and then you'll never watch it again. Wait, actually, that probably happens. That probably happens if you listen to this show. Isn't this a motorcycle show, Logan?
Most of the time.
Most of the time. You should keep me on track. Dennis Faldorf is on board from Yakima, Washington. Yakima? Yeah, that's, well, I can't say people's normal names, so why should I do cities any different? He's usually in Alaska. It must have got too warm up there. And what's Carly's name? Kyler. I always
Curler.
think Curler. Kyler. I look at that name and every time I just want to say Curly because I'm transposing letters.
Could be.
Yeah. So sorry, buddy. Balance, bro. Maybe you should take a class. Best upgrade you can give your bike. I had pretty insane balance when my hand came off the handlebar. Everything was good, except the bottom of the dune came up before I could do anything about it. And then gravity took over, and my wrist, on the other hand, I was actually when I started bottoming out and going in. And I noticed my hand that was on the handlebar as I was collapsing down, as I noticed, I vividly remember this, as I noticed that, my body was now pushing my hand on and I was trying to get my hand off. It was rolling the throttle on. Rolling the throttle on pretty violently, actually, is what caused the back end to slide out and my hip to hit the ground. But I was trying to let go of the handlebars so I wouldn't gas it. I mean, it was gassing it, and I was trying to let go. So I could be a better rider for sure. Let's see here. We have any other questions in there? Wait a minute. Let's see. George Justice, who happens to be in the room and is afraid of talking, kind of like Logan used to be, says, "Is that why you caved in my pipe on the 300?" No, that wasn't tuning. That was this race called King of the Motos, and it was it hurt that bike. That bike it's better with an unsmashed pipe. We should take it off and cut it in half and straighten it back out. That'd be well worth doing that.
Can't you send it to somebody and they do that?
I'm sure you can send it to somebody and they can do that. I'm too cheap.
I realize.
Yeah. I'd like to try one of those experiments where they, put water in it and freeze it and try to punch it out that way. Or I think I tried that in the past and it just deformed the pipe and split things in other ways. Let's see here. Kyler says, I tune dent my pipe all the time. Yeah, it's just like me. In the middle of a ride for the right reasons, wrong reasons, right after I get a brand new pipe. So Bob says that the thing I was talking about is called a torque ring, the spacers in the pipe. Because making it longer lengthens it, which generally, yeah, I mean, sometimes I wouldn't say that was always the case. So Jordan Siegel, I don't know, there's no M in that. Siegel. Jimmy, I watched your video on JD Tuners. Great explanation. On the KTM 500, do you bump the fueling up fatter in the mid and top with an open exhaust? It looks to be set in the middle across the board. Very impressed with the change in power. So, you know what's funny, actually, on the KTM 500, my typical setting is on the mid and top specifically is stock and maybe 1/2 of a number. So it'd be like 3.5, but a lot of times stock, and I've even gone down to, on the top end, I've gone down to 2.5, but I'm running the pump squirt, which is the red blue light, richer. And so that's the fueling when you twist the throttle. So the bike actually net gets better fuel economy, because I find that I'm rarely just laying into it on the top end. Most of the time when I'm really getting up the top end, I'm doing throttle changes, and that extra fueling there would give me everything I needed. Now, I'm not running a complete open exhaust. I'm running usually one that has a spark arrestor and stuff in it, so maybe it's a little bit different with a complete open exhaust. But typically, the only reason I would add fuel, and I have tried this with a complete open exhaust, was because they tended to rev too quickly when they were, because they get lean, and so I was just trying to slow the revs down there more so than trying to affect the power. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you could go out right now after that explanation and tune a KTM 500 with the JD tuner.
After watching the video.
Oh, yeah, good call. Good call. Watch the video on dirtbiketest.com or on the dirtbiketest.com YouTube channel. And this show is also powered by a distinct ready-to-race mentality from KTM, right?
Yeah. They are the world's leading high-performance street and off-road motorcycle manufacturer. With North American headquarters based in Murrieta, California, over the years, KTM has built a reputation as a fierce competitor on the racetracks around the world. The brand's remarkable global success is reflected in every product it develops and every move it makes.
That was good. Yeah, no applause. Perfect. The applause machine left the room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Andrew, you gonna come on the show tonight?
I'm here.
You're waiting for Yamaha questions, right?
Yeah.
How about training, kid training questions? I think Logan, you want to be a faster motorcycle racer?
Yeah.
Okay, you got to think
We
of.
should get together and pay Jimmy
A kid, yeah, he wants to do a kids class, kids camp.
Oh, yeah, there you
I got some people in Vegas that have been emailing me all the time that I keep forgetting to email them back. But I want you to teach that because you can herd kids better than me. I just like want to shoot them. I mean, with a salt gun, so it's sane. I don't have any kids, by the way, that I know of.
Yeah, that's a reason why you shoot them.
Well, it's good that you didn't have any either. My wife Heather's here tonight, so I'm not going to say anything mean like I did before the show. What did I say? Oh, I said women shouldn't be draftsmen. You should be draftswomen. That's what I was really trying to get at with that question.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and your high school teacher was wrong to give you an A because women didn't deserve, or give you a B because women didn't deserve A's.
Yeah.
But he may have been onto something because sometimes you need extra motivation. So the B.
You've always thought that.
Yeah, that's the way I operate. If you want someone to try harder, then
Beat them to death.
beat them. No, it's what kind of encouragement is that when and it's not really encouragement? Negative encouragement? Yeah, not positive reinforcement. That's like false platitudes to me.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just like, tell me I can't do something, kind of like this show. This show, somebody said you can't do this show, and I do. How did we start this show last week? Because Ricky said I can't do it, or he wanted me to do it, and he's like, you can't do it. 2 minutes later.
No, I think you were the one saying you couldn't do it.
That I couldn't do it? So I told myself I couldn't do it, and then I did it.
Yep.
Yeah, horrible. Okay. Well, Bill's pipes called the thing that Bob's talking about a torque ring. So
I used to use those.
Andrew used to use those.
I used to pipe test and...
Did you use torque rings?
Yeah, when we were going through pipes, we put like 2 or 3 spacers in.
Yeah, you missed this part of the show. I was explaining this earlier. That's good. Bob says you should take out a ball peen hammer and just whack it.
No, that's what the Italians did.
No, that's what Bob did. He works on airplanes, by the way, for a multi-bazillion-dollar company. That was his remedy when they were trying to do something that was going to go up into space. Bob would walk out with a ball peen hammer into the shop. I'm sure you should have hit somebody in the head. So, okay, Victor is going to go to DBT jail, is what he says, or I am. I don't know. Let's see. And yeah, you Facebookers are the only ones that got to see last week's show because Logan didn't know it existed and therefore it didn't get put up on the internet. I think it was a good show. Some people told me it was interesting.
It was a good show.
Yeah. Oh, you watched it?
I did.
Oh.
The day after.
The day after.
Yeah.
But
I forgot that it was Tuesday.
right. So did I. Logan, you have anything to add? Nope.
No.
No questions? No? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Victor agrees. Good show. Because I need to have this, so you talk.
Hopefully we don't hear about Jimmy's crash any more times after this show.
How about your crash? How are you doing?
Yeah, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Motorcycles are dangerous.
Yeah.
And they're pretty fun.
Very fun.
And this is the dilemma. My crash, like, absolutely 100% shouldn't have happened. I mean, not because I wasn't doing anything to. It was just one of those crashes that just bang, and I was on the ground. And that's what I mean. That's the dangerous part about it. But it wasn't like I was, leading a rally stage against some of the best rally riders in the world, which I was, by the way. I was leading. We were doing training stages, and I was out in front. I was like 6 minutes out in front of these guys, best guys in the world. I mean, it was only 3 or 4 kilometers in, and I did start 10 minutes in front of them.
But you had them, whatever.
I was. It took Kendall like at least 2 minutes to get to where I was. And the only reason I was worried about getting up because I didn't want him to run me over, because I was on the backside of a dune, kind of in a hole, and just thinking my hip was broken. But and then Ricky just rode right by, didn't even look, and Andrew rode right by, didn't even look.
You were like 2 kilometers away from me.
Yeah, I know, because I jacked with Andrew and he was doing something else, and then it was a mess. So, but I finished that stage. I only shortcut about 20 kilometers out of it. It was all good. And then I took the rest of the day off to watch my hip balloon up.
You could get Logan to describe his wreck.
He doesn't know what happened.
Kind of.
You kind of don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the questions here was was something about helmets. It was I saw this a second ago. Justin Smith, favorite dirt bike helmet right now? Go.
Climb F3. It's all the Climb I've used.
That's what I've been wearing all last week, and this show is also brought to you by Climb. And we're not saying this just because that. We're saying this because we've been wearing, and both of us had bumped our noggins around, and they're good.
He tell the story. He literally broke the shell on his right in half, and he didn't know he hit his head.
Oh,
His shell was broken too.
I had no clue I hit my head.
And his shell was broken
Just-
too.
so I've had this.
First
So,
thing I asked him is, how'd you hit your head?
Yeah.
That's something we say.
yeah,
I didn't hit my head, Dad. Didn't hit my head. And then 2 weeks later, I look at the helmet, and the shell is broke.
it did its job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I know
Where
we
he didn't even know it.
right. No, that's
That's all you could ask for.
That's good, and we talk about this on the, in various episodes. We've talked about helmets and helmet safeties and just different things. I will tell you right now that a helmet is a disposable item. When you use it, it's a one-use item. This is something you have to know. The other things I know about helmets for sure is that the price is never indicative of the protection. And this is hard to say, but I've seen lab results from tests, and there was never any sort of correlation based on price and safety in the testing criteria. Now, if you said, I am typically doing this kind of riding and it involves this kind of speeds and my head's going to hit the ground this way, you may be able to draw some lines in there. But the other thing that was painfully obvious in the tests was that the lighter the helmet, the better it performed in the majority of tests. So, and typically, lighter helmets are more expensive. But also, some of the lighter helmets did horrible in what we'll call catastrophic tests. So that's why the price and performance don't necessarily line up. And so you can't, because I've also seen people that will spend a lot of money on a helmet and use it over and over again, and they're just rolling the dice because things have gone wrong. And I know some people that buy inexpensive helmets and replace them as they should, and they're probably in a better place financially and safety by doing this method, in my opinion. But the other thing is, it's not often that you hit your head in the exact same place 2 times, but foam crushes, and if you start dampening the foam. Are you bringing in my guest host? No?
Jim needs to replace his helmet.
Yeah. Oh, from the last time? Out of the dunes? Yeah. What kind of helmet was that?
Climb.
A Climb helmet? It did its job?
I guess so.
Yeah, you're still here, right? Oh,
Using
there's another one. Uh-oh, here, this could be problematic. Yeah. But there's lots of different really good brands of helmets, and everybody kind of has an opinion. That the only things that you should know is you should probably understand the testing and safety standards, and know what the tests are and how they work. Whether it's DOT and Snell or ECE and all this stuff. This is a really good thing to know when you are trying to buy a helmet. Talk to other people that know. And the problem is you're always going to get the guys that are spending tons of money on the helmet are always really, really proud of it. And they're gonna poo-poo the lesser priced helmets that I have been putting on my head for a long time. And I've had, I'm still here, right? Pretty decent success. But, if you can afford to replace an expensive helmet, then go for it. And there's so much new stuff with helmets, especially in the rotational categories, which when I did this helmet test, we didn't test for. So stuff like MIPS is inexpensive and very effective. And then there's a lot of stuff like in the 6D helmet and the Fly helmet. The Fly Formula helmet has some really good rotational stuff in it that I know works. They have the test data to show it. So, and then Climb has the Coroid stuff, which I tested 2 years ago. Torpedoing my head in the ground. Yes, Bob?
You need to talk about
fit. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. The other thing that our test showed is that bad fit trumps any. Like if your helmet doesn't fit, you might as well just wear the wrong helmet. I mean, it doesn't matter how safe your helmet is. If it fits wrong, and generally people have helmets that are too loose, that's a bad thing. That's a really bad thing because it doesn't do its job. It's supposed to really cup your head and allow the jello inside there to not shake too much. So, okay. Let's see who's getting in trouble. We have any questions, Logan?
Not really.
Do one show inside the mini track while George and Logan spin around on the XR80. I'd get dizzy. Actually, I'd get pissed off because you know how, like when I watch somebody do something wrong, I have to like push them out of the way and do it right.
Yeah.
That would be the whole show. I'd have to go over there and take the bike away from you and do it right. So that wouldn't. Chris Real says, motorcycles are fair. You ride them and sometimes they ride you. That's true. Let's see. If Jimmy is 6 minutes ahead and he's going to stop, take off his gear and bust out a PBR. Well, this is the other reason like we couldn't do the show, George, from the flat track, because I'd probably have to show that trick I did the other day.
No, I was just asking about that, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're asking about that, and you're sitting there, and you're gonna try to put it in the chat room.
Well, yeah.
I have a hard enough time reading these things. Okay, we got a question. Todd Kelly has a question. You want to read it, Logan? Can you find it? Got it? Read it.
The WPCS4 forks that come on my Christini, I know they aren't the best, but aren't too bad. I heard to talk about reverse bleeding them to improve them a bit. Can you explain that?
Man, your Christini comes with. You're gonna have to clarify this, Todd, because I'm pretty sure they're the open cartridge forks, not the 4CS, which is. I'm pretty sure they're the kind of the same as that are on the EXCs. They're like the ones that were coming on your 2014-ish KTM EXC. So, I don't think it's the 4CS, the closed cartridge forks. But they're not the best, but they aren't too bad. I heard you talk about reverse bleed them. Can you explain that a bit? So, yes, I can explain what I was doing with that. And I'll tell you the one thing. I do have a Christini, and I have ridden it quite a bit. And I think the characteristic that the 4CS has, which is kind of stiction, it's kind of a stiff initial movement of the fork. Anytime it moves, the first part of the movement is very stiff. Sometimes the drive of the front wheel can amplify that effect even on the open cartridge fork. So we'll find out, make sure it's the 4CS fork if we can figure that out.
He said they aren't. You're right.
I'm right.
Yeah.
Wow, there's a first time for everything. Yeah. Ring the bell. I'm right. Yeah. Oh. Whew. Okay. So the sensation you're feeling is because of the drive of the front wheel instead of the the fork. Sometimes it's pulling and it gives it an additional amount of stiction. Now the Christini system has a lot of stuff built into the spinning and parts so that the drive shafts of the front drive move freely, but the fact that the wheel's pulling on that fork can probably put some different forces on it as compared to what's normal. I don't think they'd be much worse than it actually, and now I think about it, it should net make it better, make the action of the fork better, but there is some stiction in there. I know this. But so the reverse, the negative pressure is, so instead of having your bike on the stand like you're supposed to when you want to put zero air pressure in there, I actually usually have bleeder fork caps on there, the ones that have the little buttons, and I push down on the fork, and then I push the button on the fork down, air comes out, and then I let it extend. And so you're putting negative pressure in there, and by how far you push it into the stroke affects how much negative pressure in there. Can you get it, exact? Probably not, but it made a difference, especially on those 4CS forks. I found it could really benefit the way that they felt. So you're running with like slightly negative pressure. I would try that on the Christini, and if you haven't just been bleeding them like as a habit in the beginning, just the normal air pressure that builds up on them could be a problem. So, yes, Bob?
Stiction is called breakout force. And
Breakout force.
It's the amount of force that it takes to move the fork initially.
Okay. That sounds good.
Like the difference between static and kinetic energy.
No, it's the force initially required to get the fork to move.
Okay. So we'll put that on the blackboard up here, right? Do you want to draw a diagram or anything? Do you have any reference manuals?
I about the Christini because it's a
Right.
driven front wheel. If it, as you mentioned, if the torque loads on the forks are different than what they are on a regular dirt bike,
Right.
and maybe that's contributing to the increased breakout.
Yeah, and I think I bet you somehow. I mean, because I know those shafts, they're on these really interesting bearings, the drive shafts,
Right.
and I've tested, I've tested pushing on them when I flexing them and stuff, and they move pretty free. But I'm sure that I'm pretty sure that could
It's usually a combination of everything.
Yeah, exactly. A combination of everything. So, glad. Shauna Spencer says, Jimmy, can you recommend a skid plate for a 500? Longtime Enduro Engineering aluminum user, but keep hearing good things about the composites. So, Shauna, that's a KX 500, a CR 500, or a KTM 500?
How is KTM?
Yeah, probably KTM 500. I'm just saying because sometimes the questions get vague. And but can recommend a skid plate 500. So it depends. It depends on how. It's just like a helmet. How hard are you going to smash this thing? Like if you're really gonna smash this thing into stuff, aluminum. Just because it's going to add a little bit more strength. By nature, the composite or the plastic ones, for instance, will flex, and so you can still dent the frame rails. And if that's what you're putting the skid plate on, if you're putting the skid plate on to protect the cases, then it's like how much is it going to fold up, and then it's sort of a toss up because sometimes the aluminum ones will actually bend in, and there's so much force going in there anyways, it's going to just keep going. And where the plastic ones will add some sort of a rubber bumper effect, in my opinion. So I have been running the plastic ones for a while now. I've kind of gone away from it because the best thing about the plastic ones is they don't affect the handling as much. The aluminum ones tend to. And some of them are pretty good designs. They don't affect it that much. I didn't notice that many bad effects from the Enduro Engineering ones. We do have a test, I know for sure, on both the TM Design Works and an Enduro Engineering skid plate on Dirt Bike Test. Are you posting that yet, George? No? He's got a beer in his hand, and he's smoking a cigarette. Toothpick. Yeah, smoking a cig, and he didn't. So everybody's going to be waiting to get those, those links right now. You're almost like Logan, just slacking on the job.
Careful.
So, what, you leave? You want to you want to be a co-host? Logan's probably ready to quit. You were supposed to quit a couple shows ago. What happened?
Yeah, what happened with that?
He
Logan's
was
in the
supposed to
hospital.
get better in 2 weeks, not quit in 2 weeks.
He said he was giving me his 2-week notice.
2-week notice till all was good.
Oh, that has different meaning. And once you're in the real world and you have to get a job, like a 2-week notice is bad, for somebody. Not good. Not good for everybody. So you coming back was kind of a good thing, I think. I'm not sure, especially with that card incident. We need Logan. Okay, where did Andrew go? He ditch again?
I don't know, he's in the other room.
Yeah. Well, somebody's got to pet my cat. Let's see. Yeah, Sean, I got that KTM. So, there's a lot of different good brands out there that do stuff. If they were sponsors of this show, I'd tell you which one the best one's. Kind of like that Climb helmet.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Little. I'm stoked on my helmet. It's light. It's super lightweight. It's doing its job. I'm pretty sure. You know what? I don't know if they're in stock actually. Have you got a new one yet?
No.
Did you put one on your list of gear for photo modeling gear?
I was trying to pick a color, and none of them were popping up. None of the colors. Like,
So they're back ordered too. Because I know
Yeah.
I have some on order too. And I just got a box though. There's a Climb box someplace floating around here. Actually, there's a Moto-minded box that's gone AWOL around here someplace. I think I remember picking it up and throwing it into a truck, and now it's vaporized, which is really sad because the part I need is important. Hey, look at that. Look what popped up. Look what George just did on the chat room. Search for skid plate. And then they all come up, all the skid plates. Wow. Isn't that site awesome?
You know, there was something I was wanting to know, and I just Googled it.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that popped up was a dirt bike test review.
Man, I bet you somebody could make money with that site.
Somebody knew how to do that.
Yeah, if they knew how to do it. On the 100th show, we're going to reveal our new business plan for how to make this thing do something other than. Hey, look at our stuff's lining up in the back there. The pictures doing that was pretty good. A couple of the ads. Hey, Recluse. You know what I did for the last 6 days also besides riding?
use a Recluse?
No, I rode 0 bikes with Recluses.
Oh.
Yeah, and I didn't stall. I stalled way more than I usually do. And I was very happy that bikes now have this electric start thing.
Yeah.
So I was riding Jim's old bike, the one that crashed me for the second time. So last time I was on the show and I talked about crashing, that was Jim's bike.
I think it's the oil.
It's the oil that I'm using?
Something about the
Yeah.
oil.
And then this time I crashed again. It was Jim's bike. And it must be the oil. I changed it, though. It didn't seem to help.
Probably the wrong kind of oil.
The wrong kind of oil. But that has a regular clutch back in it because he took his Recluse out with him. And he took the rear wheel before he sold it to me. And I'm riding a KTM 350 that's kind of just a stock bike that I use for doing the schools. So I leave a regular clutch in it. So I was stalling a lot because I didn't have my Recluse because I get too used to it. So just so you know, Recluse clutch is awesome. I think they're still a show sponsor. My business manager hasn't got back to me. You know this kid named Trevor?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should work on him a little bit. Maybe I could send you to California. You could rough him up like Perump, Nevada style. First, you go out in front of his house and you do wheelies, back and forth in front of his house. Yep. And then when he sees you, you confront him and then punch him out and say, "This is from Jimmy," and then you drive away. And then he wonders. Then he contacts me and I say, "Oh, my man saw you," and you're like, "Yeah, that's how we do business." What?
He
Don't
needs to go to Huntington Beach to get a tattoo.
before he does this.
Before he does this, and then he'd be like a local.
A local. No, I think the Prump. I don't know. Do you have to have tattoos out here yet?
No, but Huntington Beach.
I know, but he's from Prump. I want him to send a message to the other side of the business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes, Bob.
Did you know about Trevor's dad's Huntington Beach pier?
Oh, I know all about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I know all about that stuff. So I was there. I lived in that house. Okay, we have any other questions? It's kind of tapered off there.
Yeah.
Andrew's coming back. You went and found him. Was he petting my cat for me?
No, I was.
You were taking care of the
I was taking care
cat
of the
petting,
cat.
right?
Okay, he's back.
Andrew, you gonna come over here and we're gonna give Logan some riding advice, some riding and training advice.
You're the expert. You're the master.
No, you come over here. He's gonna give up his chair. I need somebody else to talk because I'm thirsty.
Wait, he just got his kombucha. He made some kombucha.
Kombucha margaritas, you got me going on those, man. Good.
Oh, did you fix it up?
No.
No, because you used the Monster kombucha. They make that yet? No, Logan, you get to sit in here too. Yeah, you guys can just pile in here. They relaxed the COVID measures here, didn't they?
And then one, or first of next month.
We're open for business.
Yeah, that's what the county council voted to do that.
Oh yeah, because I went in someplace with a mask on. They said you don't have to wear that if you don't want to. I mean, they could obviously tell I didn't want to, but they said you don't have to wear that, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I mean, I'm glad I get now to make a choice about my life because riding motorcycles isn't dangerous enough. So I just want to run around without a mask. Double up. Troy Hicks says Prump equals face tattoos. Logan? We're going to have a contest to get the best face tattoo for Logan. This is why we talk about motorcycle and motorcycle-related products.
I heard a good story about you, Logan.
Jordan It's part of the training.
Oh.
How did you? So we were talking about Loretta Lynn's earlier, right, Andrew? In the early days of Loretta Lynn's.
Yep.
He's nervous. So, is your mic on yet, Logan? Do we need to turn you up? Well, that's the wrong one. Let's turn Logan's mic up here.
Hey, can you put a Moose in a 790? That's a good question.
On
the front? Was this yes or no?
This is a while back, but make sure you talk into that one because it's kind of quiet.
Yeah.
Okay. We were going to do some tests, believe it or not, because
it's not recommended for sure.
It's not
for
recommended.
Sure on the box, they would say no.
Because remember, those bikes have a big front tire. And don't try to dodge the question that we're about to ask. This guy wanted to know whether he could put a Moose in his adventure bike tire as a run flat device. So he would actually have air in his tubeless tire, but then the Moose would be in there in case he got a flat to kind of keep going. So this is something that next time I change an adventure bike tire, I'm going to stuff a Moose in there and test it. So Andrew and I were just talking about random things on our drive today, and
we had some good conversations.
Good conversations. Well, we're actually, believe it or not, you know where we saw you at that time, Logan, out there when we were in UTV. So me and Andrew were actually kind of we got lost a little bit driving here because
we're trying to shortcut through Pahrump.
Yeah, I was cutting a shortcut.
Rowdy.
I was cutting a shortcut, and so we're driving through there, and I started telling him a story about seeing you up there with your girls. And
girls or girlfriend?
Well, him and his buddy and his so it's kind of it's just Pahrump, so it involves his sister too. So well, anyways, I kind of telling the Andrew the story about me mobbing through there on the UTV and seeing you, and I didn't realize it was you. Kind of didn't, and then we thought it maybe, but Heather said yeah. But Andrew said, oh, this is one time when I was growing up. And so the question Andrew to ask is, so that year at Loretta Lynn's, how was the performance? Like did in your race results, how was the race results that year?
I won and I got second.
Well, that's pretty good. Yeah. Okay, good. That's okay. So Logan, I guess it's okay to hang out with chicks and do this stuff. It's not going to hurt the race results too much.
Is that where you met your wife?
No. I mean, she grew up racing, so I knew who she was for a long time, but never, not till we got older. I was like 16 before, we started hanging out.
So we got.
Hey, but dude, I'm gonna tell you, I've been out there on the road books, especially this area he was talking about, and we've been doing like multi-piece training and all this. I see some funky stuff out there in Pahrump. You better be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a face tattoo would help. If he had a face tattoo, nobody's going to mess with him.
I saw an S10 where they must have been driving at night, and they had to be full gas and just drove it right into a ditch and left it there.
And they're done with that.
Yeah, and they're done with that.
Forever.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, I talked to him about your style. Do you want to explain the style, Logan? Like how So there were two guys and there were two girls and two motorcycles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so you're out there doing like what we call a little smooching, right?
Well, hey, but normally if you give a chick a ride, you're like, this is the problem with my wife because she rides too, and hey babe, you want to go like ride a motorcycle at dinner? She says sure. She hops on. She thinks I'm gonna sit in the back and she's gonna ride. I'm like, no, this is not how it works. So normally when you ride with your babe, you hop on the bike, she hops on the back, she puts her hands around you, and this is how you ride. But this is not how you rode with your girlfriend, apparently. You were doing it like wheelie boy style, when you see the guys and then they have someone on the front.
There's some techniques here.
Where did you learn that, Logan?
I don't know. Jimmy made it up.
Oh, I did. I made it. I did not make it up. We witnessed this, right, Heather? So earlier before we went live, Johnny Campbell and his wife Faye were here, and so it's funny because most of us are that are married, our wives ride, and Faye really wanted to know. She's like, what is this I'm hearing about?
She wanted to straighten you out. I'm not gonna lie.
She was very interested in she was like, Johnny, you need to pay attention to what Logan's got going on. So this is
So
This is-
maybe this week Johnny's gonna be practicing his wheelies and hoping, trying
Yeah.
to show Faye what he's got, and then maybe she'll hop on and go for a ride.
Yeah. So you're kind of keeping a little under wraps the techniques. So I understand that the physics of the girl sitting in front of you and facing you, and your hands are on the handlebars, she's wrapped around you in front of you. Now this is different than my style, but I just what technique did you use to actually get them there, onto the motorcycle? You would be scared if I said do this.
Yeah, probably.
Just take some acrobatics.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he just put Armor All on the seat, so when he parked on a hill, I slide forward.
And then she'd really have to hang on if he went uphill.
To his bike.
Hang on to me. Yeah. So.
And I was only 15.
Jimmy's got his own tricks.
No, he's probably already tried this.
Yeah.
Is your seat been armor all? Because he doesn't. And then he's using your bike. He's trying to show off. Hey.
Yeah.
What,
You have to start checking the hour meter on that thing.
Yeah, it's running out there, right? Yeah,
Well, it's not running a lot. They usually go to a nice hill and they park.
I don't think it's 2 hour rides or 10 minutes with a runtime.
Going to see my girl.
Someone says Jimmy, her dad might be listening. Her last name isn't Hensley, is it? I hope not, because that's the last name of the guy. Okay.
Who's Emily Martin?
That would be her. Why?
She gonna come on the show sometime, or have we scared her away? Effectively scared her away.
Yeah, that's her.
Huh? Yep. Now I can't talk.
Yeah, he can't even get a notepad on. Just
Yeah. back to Logan. Early days, Logan. Yeah.
It's okay, Logan.
Hey, if it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they always say about that stuff. They're talking about tires now. Really? We're gonna go back to motorcycles? What training questions were we gonna go through, Andrew?
You said kids camp maybe or something?
Kids camp. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you really should do this. This is the future
Yeah. We should.
generation, and I think you need to pass down your skills, all your desert skills.
Well, your son, he does Jimmy braking drills.
Kinda.
Kinda.
We call them Jimmy braking drills.
Because-
There's really only one that we do,
Which
but
is
we love it.
the
But
panic
the problem
braking.
the hands up.
Oh,
we go
Simon
really
Says.
fast, and
Simon
then I don't know. You have names for it, but we call them Jimmy braking drills.
Okay.
But he does.
So
this,
guess what? We're changing. We got to own this thing, because if we don't, somebody else will steal it, and then they'll call it whatever their name is, and then I'll be out again. So
The best part is I'm making trails at home, and Jimmy will call me, and my son will be stuck on the side of the hill, and I say, "Hey Jimmy, what does he do?" And Jimmy says some not so nice things. Well, he says really good things,
Yeah.
but we can't repeat these things.
Yeah.
But it gives him an excuse to say it, so he gets really happy. He talks about his Jimmy skills.
no, I always he'll and usually it's like if he's out riding, he FaceTimes me. And Andrew will FaceTime. He'll turn around and go, look, and he's on the side of the hill, and I'll say the complete wrong thing. I mean, not there's some bad words sometimes, but it's just the worst. Just as a joke, because I know he's listening. I'll tell him what he probably wants to say. It's probably what you want to say, right?
I want him to figure it out. So I want him to use his brain, and I don't want me to tell him what to do his whole life. And so I'm really trying to accelerate this learning curve.
You don't learn from spouses,
Yeah.
and you don't learn really from parents.
Yeah. But he looks to me.
Oh, you do if they whip your ass
He needs a
Yeah.
third
or shoot you with a
party.
salt gun.
Yeah, Jimmy would be great for him.
But you should bring him out here, and while you guys are rally training Jim, and I'll ride around with him.
Yeah, that would be even better. Except for you take him to the date ranch. He doesn't have enough gas to get to the date ranch.
Don't
Better
leave that
explain
date
that.
ranch
You have
hanging
to
in
Yeah.
talk about Logan. Not talk about date.
Well, the first time you guys said the date ranch, I said, I don't know. My wife might kill me if we talk about that. But it's actually in Pahrump. The China date ranch.
Everybody gets a date.
Yeah.
But
Andrew
this
doesn't.
place is world famous. I want to make a road book there because the date shakes are unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the dates and all this stuff.
He doesn't
the
want to
food.
go there because he's scared of the date shakes. He's
Yeah.
scared because he
One
eats them and
date shaky trip.
they're not on the health
They
plan.
can't be on any health. Those things are so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're amazing. They're
So-
full of sugar.
So
If you're ever passing through Death Valley on an adventure bike, you need to stop at the China Date Ranch. It should be a mandatory stop.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Somebody says Logan's taking the 5th. Well, when hasn't he taken the 5th?
Gabe's on.
Gabe is. Who's that?
Come on.
The other. He at least put the card in the thing, Logan.
Yeah.
Clone those two.
Clone them. Why? So when I piss one off and they quit, there's another one around?
Yeah.
That's a good idea, George. Huh.
The best thing I learned in the last 2 days from Jimmy is extreme riding. Kind of like if there's a tight 180 or you got to get your bike situated through the rocks where your bike doesn't necessarily fit and the angle's not right. He had his extreme enduro technique where you kind of lock the front end and move it over. But when it's like in these situations, you're going downhill and I put my feet on rocks or I'm not weighting the foot pegs. And so he would weight the front end and push it over with his hand. Or one time he didn't even have to use his hand. And he got the angle perfect. Whereas most people get off their bike and try to get the angle right and go down and kind of walk it. But Jimmy can just go do a stoppie, move it exactly where he wants it. And so I've been practicing this last 2 days. So that's the biggest bike skill I've learned. Come on. Yeah.
Did you try the hot tub?
No, the hot tub wasn't going.
No, we didn't.
We were getting serious.
My assistant wasn't up there to prep it for me. I mean, I can't get anything done by myself, Bob. It's like I need help these days. Yeah. Oh, it's phenomenal. Yeah, but we at least did have hot water and shower. That was pretty huge. So yeah, we were working on little trail riding techniques and things, and I'm trying to what am I trying to what kind of recovery program am I on for my hip?
Kendall left, the shaman left. So he's not on any recovery.
Yeah, I try to help, but Miller High Life? Yeah. No, I didn't have any Miller High Lifes. I had Milwaukee's Best, believe it or not. Yep. Another.
Loma Azul?
Do I need Loma Azul? Yeah, I'd like a shot of tequila.
Okay.
Got my wife brought me a gift when she came out to visit.
Jen's in Richmond.
Oh, Jen did. Well, you brought a gift from Jen. That was awesome. Logan, do you have any questions for Andy Short?
No.
No?
No.
Really? Okay, so do you remember when Andrew was racing, or are you too young?
Yeah, I remember.
You remember?
Yeah.
Okay. So how many of your friends would be super stoked to be able to sit down next to Andrew and ask him some questions? I mean, they'd all get nervous like you? One friend?
One.
Only one friend? Where is he? Her? Is your sister?
2 blocks that way.
2 blocks that way? Should you call him and see if he has any questions?
Probably not.
Probably not? Why not?
Yeah.
He'd come over? Want autographs?
No, he probably asked the wrong question.
Hey, Andrew, how is the YZ125X? That's what I want to know.
I really only bought this bike because Jimmy had it sitting in the garage, and my son rode a YZ65. Now he's on a YZ85. But I initially thought this would be the perfect bike for me to ride with him. And it is, because I normally ride a 450. And on these trails like we were talking about, it's really easy for me to just put that thing in first or second gear, and I have so much traction and torque, it makes riding easy. So this bike has been great to teach me fundamentals again, carry momentum, gear selection, and I just have a blast on it. It's like being a kid again. So this is why that bike's awesome. I haven't ridden another 125 in a long time. And
you rode mine.
Yeah, actually I did ride yours for a couple straightaways.
And what happened?
Oh, that one's the bog bike. You had something in the float bowl, I think.
Yeah, the piece of junk in
it would run amazing until all of a sudden.
Oh,
it didn't. Yeah,
it was like, and it was funny because Eric was riding with us that day, and he's a high level mechanic. Level mechanic, and he used to build all the bikes for JCR. He was Ricky's Dakar mechanic, and he got here a day early, and Andrew was here, and we were getting ready to do rally training. I was like, hey, let's go ride 125s, because I had the KTM 125 XC, I had the YZ 125X, and I had my YZ 125, and we went out and did a loop around here. And so we were all kind of switching bikes, and I rode mine, I think, in the beginning, or I don't remember. No, I think I had to ride the KTM, because you're not allowed to ride the KTM.
Eric was riding the older 125. He was like, this thing has a mean bog, Jim. He's like, nope, that thing runs perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like,
it did.
I'm like, dude, this thing, no, it's fine. I rode it because I rode it recently. I'm like, no, it's just like, I know, yeah, it can bog a little bit because it's kind of tuned high. It's high performance, super, like I ported it and everything like that. So it So I just figured it was him, and he's also self-admittedly hadn't been riding like in 3 years or something and hadn't ridden a 125 in forever. And so he's riding around and he's saying it has a bog. And I'm like, yeah, what does he know? Right. And then Andrew rides it and Andrew goes, dude, this thing rips, except it's just like it hits the kill button. It just stops. And I'm like, what? Because I know he knows. And I know he's not, you're not babying it or anything like that. Because, at 125, you can be 2 gears high, get on the gas and it'll bog. And so I'm like, okay. So we switched around again and I hopped on and I rode it and it did it a couple times. I'm like, oh man, this is so bad.
The best was Jimmy on the way back. We'd line up all 3 bikes on the flat road and we'd put it in 3rd gear, I think, and we'd all keep it at the same RPM. And
3rd gear roll-ons.
He had like his head bob. It was like 1, 2, 3, and everyone, whoa, and see which one accelerated faster. And it was cool to have that and that perspective. And you obviously have experience doing this, but this is something I would never think of or have 3 similar matched bikes to compare this, but it was cool. This
is how you test. I mean, it's how you test to know. We had so my YZ was just.
What year is that? 2005.
2005, first year of aluminum frame, and but that one kind of doesn't count. But these are 2 brand new 2021 stock bikes, and we wanted to see. Actually, there's a picture floating on the rotation behind us of me and you when we were ripping up and down that sandwash shooting photos. Yeah. But it's really interesting to see just the kind of the 3rd gear roll on, or 3rd or 4th or whichever one you're doing it. Really, you let the bikes bog down into like low RPMs and then roll it on, and you it's like a dyno. It's like a real world dyno. And depending on the traction, and we were on a really good road with really good traction, so it shows how they pull, like how long they pull, and it shows the gear ratios to some extent, and where they pick up and pull, and you can kind of adjust the takeoff RPM, which is speed, and then you can see how different bikes pull differently, and it was kind of cool. But we do that with all different bikes, and sometimes I'll do it between different kinds of bikes because somebody says, oh, a 350 is really slow, and it's like. So if you do like a 4th gear roll on a 350 and a 450, the 450 just annihilates it.
Yeah.
But you do a 3rd gear roll on at like a higher RPM, the 350 pulls it.
Yeah, sure.
And so there's like these just different things you can do, and it's like, is it fast? What gear are you in? Where's the throttle position? Is always the
where are you riding it? Who are you?
Yeah. What do you do? So,
but as a racer, I never tested like that because I wasn't comparing it to other bikes. I was always trying to refine the bike that I was on, and I wasn't mindful of what everybody else was on. I was trying to maximize what I had. So, you have a different testing perspective than what I do and what I think of, and what's important to you isn't important to me. And it was just cool to see that day how your thought process on how you evaluated them and what made your brain tick and what I was looking at that bike completely different.
Going between like product testing, which is what we're doing. I'm testing something and I have to describe it for everyone. I need to tell somebody. So somebody's sitting there deciding between that KTM and that Yamaha, which of course I still haven't. No, I actually wrote most of the story, but we never did the magazine. But so they're sitting there trying to decide between those 2 bikes. They haven't ridden them. I have. And I can't say like this one is better because it's like, no, this is what this one works like, and this is what this one works like, and describe them so they can feel like they've ridden them. And they say, hey Jimmy, I mean, I know what you like, but I don't like any of that. We talked about this with different people. You can identify with, you go, I kind of like the stuff that guy likes, or I don't like what that guy likes. And then you can start, as you get to know that person as a test rider or the way that they describe things, then you can.
And as a consumer, I think everybody's different. Like some people have expendable income and other people are just trying to ball on a budget, and they have to be really mindful of how much money they're actually going to spend. Or, like what you said, if you have $6,000 to blow, then yeah, great. This is a great bike to have. Otherwise you might want to go this direction. And so I think you have to know who you're speaking to and understand the person that's writing the article and what's important to them. And
yeah, it's and I always felt like, I always felt like it was my money that I was spending when I was recommending. And we talked about just different way guys would say, they say I'd buy this in a minute, and it's like, well, why didn't you?
Yeah.
And my kind of go-to is like, there's times when I said I bought this bike, or I ended up buying this bike because it was that good. And there's other times I say, hey, look, if you don't have, now it's $10,000, and when I was writing it was $6,000 and $7,000 and $8,000. But if you don't have $10,000 to spend on a bike right now, don't ride it because you're gonna figure out a way to get 10 grand to do it. And I was lucky because I was spoiled and I always had a new one in line, and because I wanted to go buy that bike after I tested it. I literally wanted to go buy it, but I had another bike in line that I had to go test as my job, and then I'd forget that I wanted to buy the one I was just on, and I go, maybe I want to buy this one. They're all really that good. And that's the way I felt when I rode that Beta 200 a couple weeks ago. And even my buddy Dave, who rode it with me, he's like, I want to buy. We all want to buy this bike. And then I cooled down after a couple days, and I didn't want to buy it anymore. And then not because it wasn't as good as it was. It was just like I rode something else.
Yeah. For me, I wouldn't buy just a 125. Like, that wouldn't be my bike of choice every day. I would much rather have a 450. But this bike is awesome to ride with my son. I have a blast on it, and it's kind of like my go-to bike, Monday through Friday when I ride with him. And then when I go, like, if I want to go ride with you, I'm not going to bring a 125. I bring my 450.
Oh, you should. I'll smoke you.
I know you're like a 125 specialist, but
no, I won't.
Yeah, so I think it's a great bike, and especially for somebody that needs a bike that's a little cheaper and can teach you the fundamentals. I think if you're getting into the sport, this is a great bike to teach you how to ride and how to enjoy it and maintain it and all those things. So I hope to keep the bike, and maybe one day my little dude will be on it.
Logan has a 125.
Yeah.
And I think he has KTM 125, and I think it's good that Jimmy, his dad, didn't throw him right on 250F, because shoot, you put him on a 300, what happened? The Beta 300 X Trainer, which is a tiny bike, right?
Yeah.
Does your sister know you crashed it?
Yeah.
Is it bad? Is it perfect? Is it fixed up?
Yeah,
It's all back together? She mad at you?
Bike?
Her
Yeah.
bike, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you replace the smash muffler?
No, these are performance dents.
Performance?
Tuning dent, yeah.
Tuning dent is fine.
Hey, Andrew, Eric Featherston says, it's so awesome to see a rider of your ability and accomplishments come from motocross and supercross to off-road rally racing. You have accomplished so much already and have been faced with big challenges. What is the future for you, your goals in rally racing? By the way, you are an excellent ambassador and role model for American youth. There is no good reason why Americans can't dominate in global world rally. So I think the question is what are your goals?
Yeah, thanks for the kind word. My goals are just to have fun. Like, I raced motocross, supercross for so long, and that was my dream. And I love rally, but I love trail riding, and I love riding with my son. So my goals are just to do my best. Obviously, I'd like to win. Everybody wants to win, and but it's not an easy thing to do, and you have to be realistic. So one step at a time. I feel like I'm in a great position. So we'll see what happens. With Dakar, that's the one you want to win. The other ones, I've won a world championship round, and I kind of crossed that off as a goal. And the next big one will be Dakar.
Second in the world championship series.
Yeah, and I finished second in some, like in Silkway, and all the big races I've done really good at, except for Dakar. So that's the last one to kind of conquer, and it takes a lot of stars to align to have success in this race. So we'll see. But it only happens once a year. It's kind of like Loretta Lynn's as a kid. It's like you work all year for one race, and if it goes bad on day 1 or 2 or whatever, it's a lot of work down the drain.
And he's sitting here saying he does this for fun. And if you know how much work and effort he's putting into the training aspect of what he's doing, it's like how much it's fun when you're on the bike and riding. We all like this, but there's a lot of work that goes into, getting out here.
But if I won the lottery, this is exactly what I would be doing.
You moved to Pahrump?
Yeah. I don't know if I would move to Pahrump, but I would come visit.
You should buy a compound out here.
No, I don't want to buy nothing. I think it's more work. So I like riding dirt bikes.
Yeah. So
and that's it.
Yeah, and
I like trail riding though too.
Yeah.
I don't like motocross so much. I've done enough of that. I like riding motocross with my kid.
Yeah, we were talking about just different disciplines of riding and like why you do it. And it's kind of like you do one thing for enough and then you're over it and then you want to do something else. But for me, I get over it in like 3 days and I want to do the next thing, and then I'll be right back to the one I hated a week later, a month later, something like that. Not that I hated it; it was just I wanted to do the next one. Yeah. So. Okay, let's see. We got any other questions out in the Facebook world? So if you're watching this show someplace else, if you're listening to it on some podcast format, share it with your friends. Let them know about us. We are 98 shows deep. And if I responded to you on YouTube and said your question would be answered in show 97, we actually answered it in show 96 because math wasn't one of my strong points. So just, if you're listening to it and you said, man, I listened to 95 and I asked a question and 96 didn't, just listen to another show. You can go back in our archives and watch any one of these shows, and they're a little bit timeless because we don't talk about the week-to-week racing stuff. And you can probably learn at least half of some good information on any show when we're not picking on Logan. Actually, you should go back and listen to the early shows because Logan barely talks and he can hardly read a sentence.
Yeah.
Well, actually, he could read a sentence, but your grammar and punctuation and spelling and things like that on the questions he was forced to read was horrific. And he did actually a pretty good job, even then.
I heard your sponsor drops. Much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reads were a little rough on the last ones, I think. You and the girls. Where are they? Where's our helpers? Where's the Maslows?
Breck and Brent.
Yeah, Brooke and Brent.
Bobby and Benny.
Brooke and Brent.
Yeah, where are they? They're scared off? They quit?
No.
Nope. Are they? Did they start their own podcast? And they're taking off. They're gonna copy my format and be done with it. Everybody has a podcast now.
Yeah.
Right. So they could probably get extra credit at school if they do this right.
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay. Is it safe to make wheel tubeless with those kits they sell online? Have you done a regular wheel tubeless? I use the tubeless, the Nitro Moose tubeless. What's the name of the company? The regular name? NewTek. I've done NewTek, and that's the only one I've done. So I'm not really sure. And somebody says,
I just get scared with it. What's your opinion? Because when you go tubeless, typically the people run low tire pressure, and then the profile of the tire isn't round anymore. It's more square. So then it's harder to turn. You might have good straight line traction, but as soon as you get on the edge, and it's so sharp that it's going to go really hard. So what is the
so most of the guys that are, in my experience, most of the guys that are running the tubeless system to run low pressure.
Yeah, this makes no sense. The tires aren't designed this way.
They don't turn.
Yeah, they're not concerned. They're not concerned with when we talk about turn, we talk about tire wallow and traction and stuff like. This doesn't even matter. They're just trying to get traction. They want their tire to wrap and conform to every bump, and so it's kind of a different world there. And in some aspects that works really good. But, you hear people that understand a little bit about riding fast. We will not run a really soft sidewall tire on a tubeless system because I run a Kenda Equilibrium on a tubeless system, and I run 15 and 16 PSI in it because I need the stability in the tire just goes away, so you have to kind of compromise for it. But I think most of the time they just want to run, they want their tire to it's like airing down.
Yeah.
They want to run air down all the time and they don't care about it wallowing around. And when you have a tire like that, even aired down and you accelerate in a straight line, it doesn't go straight.
Yeah.
But they don't accelerate like this.
And it has to affect your chassis a lot, I would think also.
Oh,
and you'd have to put more on the spring, I think, to get ride height back up, and
they don't care about this.
The Kenda Parker works really
Yeah, so in tubeless tires, stiffer sidewalls tend to work a lot better, like desert style tires, like the Kenda Parker DT, the Dunlop AT81 is a decent tire on a tubeless setup and stuff. So Eric Featherston says, I signed on late. What is your future Yamaha factory rally? Oh yeah, where are you going? Like which rallies? Not which brand. He's like, am I going someplace? What do you know? I don't know anything. No, where are you going? Tell me your Sonora rally first, right?
Yeah, but this I'm doing by myself. I'm paying to go there, so I'm doing this for fun, like we just talked about. Sounds like a great opportunity to ride my dirt bike, do road books, maybe have some tacos. And after that is Kazakhstan in June. I've never done this race, and the weather looks 50-50. From the videos in the past, it can rain a lot, but most of the course is on the beach. The next one, Silkway, which is in July. I've done this race. Typically, it goes Russia, Mongolia, China. This year, there's no China for obvious reasons. But this is a 12-day race where Kazakhstan's a 5-day race with a prologue. After that, my next rally will be in Morocco in October, which is the best rally of the year. It's really similar to Dakar. Morocco has great terrain. That's a great desert, and normally all the competition is there. So it kind of gives you an idea where you stand before the big race. And my final event before Dakar will be Abu Dhabi in November, and this is purely just sand dunes and sand piece. And the good part is it's the border country to Saudi. It's just north of Saudi.
Similar dunes.
Yeah, it's the same dunes, and the empty quarter is real similar, but we don't go in there a lot. And this has a lot of the subca grass where it's like the old ocean where it's real flat and then big dunes, and you got to find the right valleys. And but this race is really professional. It's held at the F1 track.
Is it still all open arrow?
No.
No, it's full navigation now. Or they do a lot of, but the arrow opens up a lot.
Opens a lot. I think it's every note's a waypoint, but it's long caps, and there's still a lot of strategy, and if you lead out the first day, you're going to lose a lot of time, and then, you'll gain it all back on the second. So if you play your cards right, you can kind of figure out where you're going to go, and you have to hang it out. And it's, I like these races because I can't read terrain like the desert guys, but I can read, like, sand dunes is like moto guys' paradise.
There's no real reading in sand dunes.
It's freestyle, and it's super fun. You're just, I don't know, it's like what your dreams are made of. You're just ripping up and down dunes and airing it out. And typically it gets into groups, so you're riding with other guys, and this is really fun too, because it's like you riding with your buddies really fast, and there's some strategy and some hands being thrown and all that stuff. You're getting mad at this dude, and you're ganging up on each other, and I like that.
So Troy Hicks says, so I love it when you have smart guests. And I think he's talking to you because you have me as a guest and I'm smart.
Yeah.
Shorty, how do you keep stoke while so many other retired pros seem to walk away from the sport? Are there other former top American MX pros that are big in the off-road desert scene? Jordan Siegel.
Yeah, Sipes like Ryan Osborne. It's like everything in life.
Zach told you wanted to do Dakar, right?
Yeah, I think he just likes off-road, whether it's 6 days or, I don't know, GNCC. I think he'll do whatever.
Yeah, he likes to ride.
He likes to ride dirt bikes.
He rode a GNCC in the break of the motocross series last year.
Yeah, I think this helped out when you aren't racing. With COVID, you can put in another race, and it helps get paid too.
Get your stuff in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's every once in a while you see guys kind of float back and forth, try to do stuff. But
there's two types of people. There's the people that do it for a living and it's a job, and you can see it, at the races. If you go there, they're the ones who are in and out, and it's just clear. And then there's people that love to ride and they want to be there and they choose to be there. And some people it's different. I feel like Chad Reed, he loves racing. I don't know if he loves riding his dirt bike, but he loves competing. He likes the atmosphere, the people, the feeling, the emotion, adrenaline, all these things. And I think it's going to be hard for him to replace that. And then there's other people that just love riding a bike. Like Sipes, he'll race anything, And I think it's because he likes that. And there's been people in the past. I'm sure there's a lot of people that have transitioned into off-road or continued to race motor. Like Guy Cooper, that dude, he rides a bike all the time,
Yeah.
He's just crazy like that. So.
There's guys that just don't, you look at the guys that have long careers that do it, it's not because they're getting paid incredible money. They just really like doing it. And, but at the level, you think about it, the level is now with these young guys coming up when they start acting like professionals.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden they're, at a young age, put on a diet, put on a training regimen. And not like Logan, who just watches cartoons most of the day, eats whatever he wants. That's the reason you're not killing it out at the track. It's the cartoons and you got to do all the stuff. Hanging out with the chicks, it cuts in. All this stuff cuts into your training program. But there's a lot of burnout in that.
Yeah, they all have external motivation, whether it's the parents pushing them, a coach, manufacturer, just expectations that this is what they are. It defines them, who they are, whether it's money or that's just all they know. They don't have anything to fall back on. And then there's those that are internally motivated that love the bike or the racing or the adrenaline. These people, that's what's sustainable. And it's not to say which one's right or wrong. I think it's just different people. Like, you love to ride. I know that, and I love to ride. That's why I can go ride with you and we have fun. But
we don't have to get paid to go riding. Like, if somebody starts dangling a motorcycle, it's not like, how much you going to pay me to do this?
Yeah, it's almost when they start paying you, that's when the fun goes away. It's like,
well, then you feel, I feel if I'm getting paid to ride, I feel indebted. Like, I have to, there's some sort of performance that comes that I don't really want the expectation or the pressure or whatever. It's like, I want to ride on my terms, not, and I always said, like, I raced for two reasons. One, to be able to go trail riding during the week. My racing was a thing. And then there was the, I want to win thing, which I hated. I mean, I didn't like the pressure that produced.
That came from you.
Yeah.
I think if you look back at it, you understand.
I liked it when it worked out, but I didn't like it when it didn't. And then, then it's like, okay, do I blame myself? Do I blame everybody else? Oh no, I blame my bike.
This is like the last frontier in racing, I think, is the brain and how you approach it. And I'm surprised there's not more like sports psychologists. I think a lot of the other sports like F1 that, do this, and there's more resources available. I think they've applied this, and I think this will happen more and more in motocross and supercross because it's so athlete dependent. It's not so much about the equipment. I think you could put the top, 5 supercross guys on similar equipment and the same results would happen. And I think the brain has a lot to do with it and how you process this information, the expectations you build and think. Just like you said, like some days you would love it and other days you hated it. I think if you would control it because your maturity now, you would approach it a lot differently. And this is one thing I look back on my career and I wish I would have understood a little more or had people around me that had more or put more importance on this. So I think it's something that's
everybody's life.
Yeah, as you
read mine all together, they kept sending, and I can't believe
read your. You sent me something.
Yeah. You
could just sit down in the chair here and tell us. I'll try to figure it out. I always thought every other racer but me was a head case. Like, I look at you guys and you're like, even, you, Logan, just doing a Moran race like 3 times a year, you're a head case. So that's the problem. I've always known it's all, most of it's up here. So I was ahead of the curve on this.
Well, there's not enough up there.
There's not enough up there?
Yeah.
With who? Me? Are you pointing at me? Yeah. I knocked most of it out. Wore bad helmets, I guess. Hey, back to that helmet thing we were talking about in the early. So the reason I started wearing a Biaffi helmet in the early days,
I had one of those.
You wore one of those. I started wearing it because I did a photo shoot and I torpedoed my head into the ground, and I told everybody I did not hit my head. Not because I didn't know, because it didn't feel like I hit my head. I didn't lose consciousness or anything. Then the photographer, a week later, this is back in the film days. You ever heard of the film, Logan? They used to put it in the back of a camera, and then you take it someplace and they process it and you get a picture back. So this picture showed me torpedoing my head in the ground. And after I saw that picture, I called up Biaffi and said, hey, I'd really like, I'm a really badass racer. I didn't even have an Instagram profile at the time, but I said, you should probably sponsor me. I'd really like your helmet because it works really good. And they did. So it's good. So even helmets that people said, it looked like there was a visor water tank or something, like the ugliest helmet. It was like, this thing's safe. I want to wear this, or at least I tested it myself. So
I think I deleted my comments. Maybe I'll just.
They deleted your comments. No, I think. Oh, you deleted your comments. I saw your comment earlier.
I just gotta ask this.
Okay.
That way. You get in there.
Oh, we're doing 4 across now. Hey, if we're
first time.
Hey, if we're the first time for everything, we have 4 in here. If we're driving across Utah right now and somebody looked up in the cab of the truck and they saw the 4 of us across the front of the seat, Bob, yeah, they're not really fit for this show. Yeah.
So
okay.
What I wanted to do, and it just kept sending up. I couldn't delete it, modify it. I hit the wrong button. But I wanted to ask Andrew, in like 20 years, because you're how old now?
38.
Yeah, so in 20 years, when your, body's failing and you're kind of washed up and racing's behind you.
Kind of like me.
Like Jimmy.
He wanted to say that. I just thought I'd cut him off because I'm still a racer and I just did the block pass.
Where do you see yourself and what do you want to be doing?
He can go on the flat track out front then.
I'm not flat tracking. I already learned my lesson at that.
On a 450.
I told Jimmy today I got to go home and start teaching my son how to trail ride, so I have a trail riding partner. So I got to start breaking him in this summer. So hopefully I can take him to Colorado, maybe ease in at Rampart Range. That seems like the good place to start. And hopefully one day we can go on these trips. And because who were you talking about? Somebody, your buddy Dave. I don't want to blow him out, but he's 58. You said, right?
Yeah, Dave.
I said I hope I'm 58 and ripping, like you were saying.
Yeah.
That. So.
Hey, Dave. By the way, Dave doesn't watch.
He
but
missed out on a good day.
But his every once in a while his girlfriend does. She'll watch but she watches the closed captions, and so. Andrew had a hard time making it up the hill. You made it up.
Yeah, one hill. I had to go back down and give it a
one hill. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew the line, so I can't really say it was that, but it was all good.
So where do you hope to be? What do you want to be doing?
Trail riding with my son.
Just trail.
Anyone with you, anybody.
In 20 years.
20 years.
He's probably going to be done.
He's 10. He'll be 30. Yeah, he probably won't.
So he's going to be.
I'll get
working
like
and he's
2
gonna have
trips
a
maybe
career.
in the summer.
Yeah, but no. Do you have like? Do you want to do tours? Do you want to train? What do you want to do?
I don't know. Yeah. I always have.
I always think you should just get
I think way too far ahead, and this is the problem. And then I'm not concentrated on the moment. So I have all these plans. I never thought I would still be racing. So I have all these things I could probably be doing besides this. But this is what I love to do. And like I said, if I won the lottery and I didn't have to worry about finances or anything, I'd be doing the exact same thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I realize that not everybody's in a position like this, and I'm very fortunate and blessed, and I need to be thankful for this. And
Thank your sponsors. Thank your sponsors.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't like that because it's cheesy and stuff. But
No, the fans of the show wouldn't like it. It's like you're obligated to do it. Wait, you're wearing a Monster hat. You're good. Fly Racing, Monster Energy, Factory Yamaha.
These people are my family, yes.
Yeah.
They've helped me with everything.
But what I see in this industry is there's so much talent out there, and there's really only a couple of guys that are really being supported. It seems like that really make a living out of it.
I think it's just the people on the top make a lot, and it's not evenly distributed, but that's the nature
people
of
with
the
the
beast.
talent and that are risking their life just don't get it. And that's part of why I come here is just, it's what I can do to support guys.
Yeah.
That I think are worthy of it.
Yeah.
Have the talent and are risking things.
All you want to do is stick your sticker on some of their equipment, like my computer
George
screen
stickers everywhere.
Yeah, like my computer. See, like this George sticker. There's even a George sticker now with a thumbs down that he sticks on all of my stuff. Like it's different, but I see this. I asked Tony. I cut you off with the sticker guy, Megala Designs. By the way, if you need stickers produced, like you go to the Megala Designs and
I actually have 4x4 banners, and I blessed you with that. But they're kind of in the rodeo scene in Montana.
Right. Oh boy, I haven't seen that photo yet.
Hey, but the thing is like, it's cool because Jimmy can give back and teach people the skills, and hopefully they can take those skills and go create memories and go ride their motorcycles and crazy places. And like him and Johnny did a tour today. And they get to go see something that's like Death Valley and what most people don't ever get to see, So if I could do something like that and share dirt bikes and give back to people, that's what I want to do, or the community, or help people. I don't want to babysit kids and teach them how to ride, and it's just because their dad wants them there. I want to be around people that love riding and people that want to be the best. And that's what's cool about racing, because like Jimmy wants to be the best, and he always did everything he could. And I'm used to being in the motocross pits or rally pits, and the people that are there are people like you've seen, like they're full of passion. This is their life. They don't care about the money. They just want to do the best they can, and I want to be around people like that. Where if I go home to Texas, it sounds bad, but I want to be around normal people. And this is something that's created a problem in my head, And so I love being around people that love motorsports because they're always thinking about what's next and how can we improve this. And this is the trap I'm in, you know. And I think you asked about people that race and then they stopped. Like for me, this is really hard. This is why I think like Chad Reed has to be going crazy, because his whole life he's always thinking about how he's going to design his semi, what the mechanics are going to be wearing, you know, what dyno they're going to get, how are they going to make the bike better, and how they're going to be better in the competition. And if we build this track and we have a baseball stadium and a football stadium, you know, then we'll crush everybody, you know. I love being around people like that. And this is what's so cool about motorsports. And it's scary for me because you see kids, and I feel like this is going away. And I don't know what the next generation will be like, or
Logan.
What they prioritize.
These are words of wisdom here.
No, I don't know. But this is what I think, and this is where I'm at in life. So I don't know where I'll be at in 20 years or 1 year or whatever, but I need to enjoy it.
Andrew won't take his kid's bike to the starting line for him because he knows that he would know which is the best gate and all this stuff, which is the best spot. He knows this from years and years. But he's telling me, he goes, I want him to take his bike there and him to pick the line and see how it goes. And then afterwards, wonder why it went good or bad.
Yeah,
and
that way, how was your start?
Yeah, and it is. I go. That's kind of the way my dad was with me. A lot of times was like, you do this. You know, this is what you do. You do it and figure it out. And as long as you're trying, you know, trying hard, and you put the effort in, try hard, the result isn't that important. You know, it's the effort that, you know, goes into it, and then while you're doing it, especially, you know, no quitting. You know, this quitting doesn't work and stuff like that. So, but as you say, when you get older and the ship sails, the competitive.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask is what's changed, because, you know, that professional athlete to the level you guys are and have been.
Was me.
Yeah, have been.
I smoked you at Flat Track. Dude, I bet you if we had a
don't change the subject.
If we had
about to get deep and you got uncomfortable. I'm just wondering what changed.
No, I'm going to tell you how it worked.
Don't talk about how you had that beer and you turned faster to the right. I think with a beer in your hand.
No, so George rode up to me, like he rode up and he was holding the beer up. He was riding. He had one in his hand, and he handed me and I cracked it open, and I kept riding around in the circle, and I ended up beating him with it in my hand. Well, and it was empty, but I was done.
I'm good with that, but see, I don't have that spirit. I didn't get angry about it because
Then I stopped because it might have, you know, it took a couple minutes to get into me, but I stopped after that.
What changed was his wrist.
My wrist?
The wrist.
Oh, for me, that was career-ending. Yeah, that was career-ending injuries. Yeah,
Racing.
but I didn't want to. No, I didn't want to. I couldn't compete because my hands come off the handlebars. In fact, like I'm not even competing and my hands come off the handlebars, and then I eat shit, and now we're in trouble.
Well, I think there's very, very few people that get to choose when they stop racing. You know, like I think most people are forced, whether it's financial or lose their ride or they get hurt, or there's many different reasons for this, and there's very few that say, okay, this is enough. You know, and I think that's another thing with racing that it leaves people in a different situation than most.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to wrap it up with a couple quick questions for Andrew. I saw this here. What bike are you racing in rally? Like which Yamaha are you racing in rally? They're curious about your bike.
Yeah, it's kind of based off a WR 450, and it's specifically built for rally, so it has massive tanks and obviously the tower on it that holds the road book, but it's purpose built for Dakar. A lot of it's one off, and
it's a MotoGP bike built for the dirt. I mean, that's the way you look at it. Yeah, pretty factory.
It's different than how some of the other manufacturers approach it, but yeah, it's very specialized.
It's a works bike.
Yeah,
and you works on it.
I work on it.
Everybody works on a works bike a lot. Do you use the wide ratio trans or close ratio?
It depends. The bike I raced in Dakar this year had a 6-speed that was specifically built for this race. I've ridden the 5-speed, and it's the same transmission that was in my FX today, you know, but it's just the final drive's different. And so it kind of depends. So that's why I was testing gearing the other day with the 5-speed, and also we possibly have some speed limitations in the future. So we're trying to figure out which gearbox is best for the future.
So someone says in ISD they have club teams. Like, there's like you could go to the ISD is on an American club team. Do you think that there should be club teams for Dakar? And he asked me if I wanted to be the team manager. I already said no.
Like a motocross the nations for rally?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that actually would be. Actually, that's one way that they could also add another kind of category is with a nation's cup.
Yeah.
I mean, because there seems to be enough representation from some of the bigger countries and stuff to where, you could easily get all the French guys and all the Spanish guys, and then you start thinking about now maybe South America would have a group of guys for sure, and U.S. would have a group of guys before when it was just like one guy. That could be an interesting thing. Actually, some of you guys that are internet nerds that are on the forums, somebody needs to do that. Somebody needs to just do that and score it themselves, and then you would get famous for creating this idea that whoever I lost the thing already. Let's see, being old, Sean Elliott, being old and a week late. I hate changing tires, even more on the trail. Me too. Scratched hands, thinning skin, and a larger gut. Do not have a beer on trail. On the good side, being old, I have a little more cash to spend. Can you help make a new tube that is a combination moose and a tube? I see a hollow pool noodle float with a tube inside of it. Oh boy. This is long. I'm not going to get to the bottom of it. Was there a question in there? Because he's talking about a scholarship and some other stuff. And
well, a lot of those things in the first line, he says, old.
Well, when you say old and fat, yeah,
like
I got
change.
that.
I think if you're older and you have money, you need to be running mooses and have somebody else change it. And you don't have to worry about it anymore.
I run tubes.
Hey, Rusty, you want to know something pretty cool?
Really
How'd your rental bike work this weekend?
The bike worked really, really good, and I hit some sharp edges, and I thought, man, that would normally have taken that tire out. But
So you're running Kenda Parker DTs?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
But did you hear how your new tires got on that bike?
No, I did not.
Because I don't like changing tires either.
Did you really?
Andrew Short put your tires on your bike. He felt so bad for me. He saw me like running around with my head chopped off, and he just took the damn wheels and put those tires on. And so I knew it was going to be perfect for you, which is awesome.
I'm not a Kenda guy. I've never ran Kendas. It was the first time changing Kendas.
But he actually did it to help me out, and then he goes, "This is Andrew for you," because the nicest guy in the world. He does this, and I'm like, you don't have to do that. And he's like, no problem. He goes, I just want to try changing different tires to see like what it's like changing the tires to see if it's different. Like he was asking questions when they were beating up, and
list all the ones he hasn't done.
Well, I know that's what I was thinking. I think I got like 7 wheels out there that are ready to go. So let's get some different tires.
My
going.
race bike sat there for 2 days, and the tire never got changed.
Well, take it off. I'll change it.
Yeah.
We still got a few. I don't leave till 6 a.m.
Yeah. So
We change tires on an 85 now.
Yeah, I have to.
I don't know. I guess I'm just so slow. I don't get a lot of flats because I run tubes and all my stuff, and
I ran tubes for a year.
I've changed
years. Yeah, but
some flats on the road, and I don't think it's a big deal. But I don't think it's a problem. And when I come down here, I put like 15 pounds in my tires when I leave, and I'm down here for like 3 months, and I don't even check them.
Yeah.
And
That would give me bad dreams.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not a factory rider, George. You don't need to. You're good. What you're doing is okay.
It's
but
working.
when one goes flat, I go, wow, the tire's flat.
So he had his on his factory flat track bike that he stole parts out of my garage to make it better. He's trying to make it as good as my bike.
Well, you were complaining about it.
He got a flat tire, and he found out that he just needed to tighten his valve core in there a little better, and all of a sudden now it's good. So, but the thing like sat in the sidelines because it had a flat tire because nobody would change it. He was like walking around head low. Hey, with that, we're gonna wrap this thing up because everybody's had a super long day, and we thank you for joining. Be sure to support our sponsors: DDC Sprockets, Honda, KTM, Climb, Recluse. Andrew, you have any sponsors you'd like to thank?
I have a lot of sponsors. I'm very appreciative of them.
Fly. We talked about helmets. The Formula helmet's really nice.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've been wearing that thing. Looks good.
And they have the new spring mesh gear out.
Heather wears it. Was Faye wearing one today?
Yeah.
She didn't.
Yeah,
Was her head good? Everything's good?
Her head was fine.
Good? That's good.
Hey, I'm not done yet.
Oh, Jesus. Here we go.
So,
this is the George.
maybe
This is the
next-
George after show.
Maybe next week or sometime.
Right,
I
next-
want sometime you got to have a conversation. Every single post that pops up on these like performance, EXC, this ride or that thing. Every single one is, I just bought this brand new 2021 500 or whatever. What do I have to do to it to make it rideable? Every one of those starts out like that. Like they got to make all these modifications to it. And I'm just at a loss because my bike's stock. I don't know if I've changed the oil 10 times in 12,000 miles.
We're not gonna talk about this.
Why?
Because I lose all my sponsors from all the ECU controllers and the bazooka pipe manufacturers.
So you're a
and
shill.
Yeah, it's all bought and paid for over here at Dirt Bike
Anyway,
Test. Just
might
send a
be
check
here-
to Trevor, my business manager, who owes me actually I owe those guys a ton of money
I might
right
be
now.
here Tuesday night
Trying-
next week.
Oh, you will?
Maybe, but this has been troubling me.
You should come in for show 100.
I just
Your bike is
flip
good.
those through.
Yeah.
Just
Just
flip
ride
those
it.
good.
Have fun.
And I'm thinking, when is 500cc dirt bike not enough power?
Yeah.
Especially for I consider myself
George, it
kind
only-
of a market.
it's
I'm
a
the target audience.
It's a
guy-
500 and only has 38 horsepower. What a pile of crap! It's like you need 65 minimum for a 500.
Okay.
The
Like-
only reason you should change parts for anything is if it makes you happy and it makes you ride your
And
dirt
I
bike
get
more.
that. Guys
Yeah.
like to work on it. They like
Yeah.
to tinker, but
Otherwise.
I'm not happy when your bike doesn't have
though,
this kind of power.
my only sponsors I want to thank is George and Jim. They're the best.
George and
'Cause I
Jim,
bought
not
dinner once
not
this
this, not this Jim.
Not Tony. No,
Tony.
not you're
Tony.
Jimmy.
Jimmy. Yeah. Okay. Good. Tony.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Well,
they're awesome.
Well, they are awesome. I'm glad that
You're
George.
really lucky that they're here.
we're lucky that we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're lucky that they're here.
No, yeah.
No,
We're-
they're lucky.
Everyone here is
they're-
lucky that you guys come and
That's
you
not what
love
you
riding.
said. You said we were really lucky to be here, which
No, I said
I
you.
agree. No, that's
this
not what
They're
you said.
lucky I'm here.
Don't forget your KTM read.
No, we're not going to do the reads. We already did it in the middle of the show. We snuck them in. You didn't even notice. Yeah.
That's the one I was giving them props on. You did a good job.
Well, signing off from Casa de Husaberg. Yeah, I got it in there. That's what you called it, didn't it? That's where you said this rally
Yeah.
training took place. Casa de Husaberg.
And House of Husaberg.
House of Husaberg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and different road books, the final note always says that.
House of Husaberg.
One day you left your Husaberg on. The light was on. I had to figure out where the key was. It was impossible to find. I didn't know if that thing would ever start
It was
again.
after the school. Because I rode the Husaberg. I ride the Husaberg at the school. It's like, I need to show off someplace these days. So, okay, everybody, with that, and Victor says 67. Victor says 67 horsepower, and he probably wanted to say you pussy, but I will for him. On that, I will be glad to answer all the questions. But next week's show, we're going to talk about how to make our 100th show better, because this is really, really, Logan,
Yeah.
it's going downhill, man. We got to get this stuff on point. So, with that, everybody, thanks a lot for joining in. We will see you real soon, and thanks to all our fans. Watch us and follow us and share us, and we'll see you on the InstaChat Gram machine-ish grinder. See ya.